Hello everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I'm Emma, and today we are going to talk about something that almost everyone experiences, but not everyone feels comfortable discussing openly. We live in a world where we can send a message to someone within seconds, make video calls across different countries, follow hundreds of people online, and constantly see what others are doing, yet somehow many people still feel deeply lonely. So, today's question is: why are we lonely despite being more connected than ever before?
Hello, Emma, and hello to everyone listening. I think this is such an important topic because loneliness today does not always look like someone sitting alone in an empty room with nobody around them. Sometimes a person can be surrounded by classmates, coworkers, family members, online followers, or even close friends, but still feel emotionally disconnected, misunderstood, or invisible. In many cases, the problem is not that people have no communication. The problem is that much of their communication does not feel meaningful.
Exactly, Daniel. I remember a time when I was sitting in a cafe, and almost every table was full of people, but most of them were looking at their phones. Some were scrolling through social media, some were replying to messages, and others were taking pictures of their food. They were physically together, but emotionally, they seemed to be somewhere else. It made me wonder whether technology is truly bringing people closer, or whether it sometimes creates the appearance of connection without giving us the emotional benefits of real human interaction.
That is a very good point. Technology itself is not necessarily the enemy because it allows us to stay connected with family, maintain long-distance friendships, learn from people around the world, and find communities that share our interests. However, the problem begins when digital communication replaces deeper conversations instead of supporting them. Sending someone a quick emoji or liking their photograph may show that we notice them, but it does not always tell them that we understand their struggles, care about their emotions, or are willing to listen when life becomes difficult.
I also think social media has changed the way we compare our lives with other people. We often see their happiest moments, their achievements, their holidays, their relationships, and their beautiful pictures, but we do not usually see their private disappointments, arguments, failures, insecurities, or lonely nights. When we compare our complete life with someone else's carefully selected highlights, we may begin to believe that everyone is happier, more successful, and more socially connected than we are.
Yes, and that belief can make loneliness even worse. A person might already feel disconnected, but after scrolling through pictures of parties, weddings, vacations, and group gatherings, they may start thinking, "Everyone has a better social life than me." Or, "Maybe there is something wrong with me." The truth is that many of the people posting those pictures may also feel lonely, but because nobody wants to appear unhappy online, everyone continues presenting a perfect image while privately dealing with similar emotions.
That creates a strange cycle, doesn't it? People feel lonely, but they do not want others to know. They post something positive to look happy and connected, then someone else sees that post and feels even more lonely. In this way, social media can become a place where everyone is performing happiness while secretly hoping that someone will notice their sadness.
I think another reason for modern loneliness is that people are busy all the time. Many of us have work, study, family responsibilities, financial pressure, and personal goals. Even when we care about our friends, we may keep postponing conversations by saying, "I'll call them later," or "We should meet next week." Then weeks or months pass, and the friendship slowly becomes weaker, not because anyone stopped caring, but because nobody created enough time to maintain the connection.
That is very true. Real relationships require time, attention, patience, and effort. They cannot always survive on birthday messages, occasional likes, and short replies such as, "I'm fine," or "Everything is okay." Sometimes we need to sit with someone and ask, "How are you really feeling?" Then we need to give them enough time to answer honestly, without checking our phones, changing the subject, or trying to solve their problem immediately.
I'm glad you mentioned listening because many people are communicating, but very few people feel heard. During conversations, we often prepare our next answer instead of fully listening to what the other person is saying. We may interrupt them, give quick advice, or share a similar story about ourselves. Although these reactions are not always wrong, sometimes the person simply wants someone to understand their emotions and say, "That sounds really difficult, and I'm here with you."
Yes, and emotional safety is also important. People may have friends, but they might not feel safe enough to be honest with them. They may worry that others will judge them, laugh at them, share their private information, or think they are weak. As a result, they continue having conversations about work, entertainment, news, and daily activities, but they never talk about the things that truly matter to them.
That is why having many friends does not necessarily protect someone from loneliness. A person may know hundreds of people but still have nobody they trust with their fears, mistakes, and insecurities. On the other hand, someone may have only one or two close friends and feel deeply connected because those relationships provide honesty, understanding, and emotional support.
I think we also need to understand the difference between being alone and being lonely. Being alone can sometimes be peaceful and healthy. We may choose to spend time by ourselves to rest, think, read, pray, create something, or recover from a stressful week. Loneliness, however, is the painful feeling that we do not have the connection, understanding, or belonging that we need.
Absolutely. Some people enjoy their own company and do not feel lonely, while others may be in a crowded room and feel completely isolated. Loneliness is not simply about the number of people around us. It is about the quality of our relationships and whether we feel accepted, valued, and emotionally connected.
Another interesting issue is that online communication can sometimes make face-to-face interaction feel more difficult. When we communicate through messages, we have time to think, edit our words, and choose the perfect response. But real conversations are unpredictable. There may be silence, disagreement, awkwardness, or misunderstanding. Because digital communication feels easier and more controlled, some people slowly avoid situations where they need to be emotionally present in real time.
That is especially common among younger people who have grown up using smartphones and social platforms. Some may feel comfortable chatting online for hours but become nervous when speaking face to face. They may fear saying the wrong thing, being rejected, or appearing awkward. Unfortunately, avoiding real interaction can make social confidence weaker, which then increases isolation and makes future conversations even more difficult.
So, Daniel, what can someone do when they feel lonely? I think the first step is to admit the feeling without being ashamed. Loneliness is not proof that someone is unlovable, unsuccessful, or socially incapable. It is a human signal, similar to hunger or tiredness, telling us that an important emotional need is not being met.
I completely agree. After recognizing the feeling, the next step could be reaching out to one person instead of waiting for someone else to notice. You do not need to send a dramatic message. You can simply say, "I've been feeling a little disconnected lately. Would you like to meet for coffee or have a phone call?" Many people are afraid to initiate contact because they think rejection will hurt, but sometimes the other person has been feeling exactly the same way.
And when we meet someone, we should try to be fully present. We can put our phone away, maintain eye contact, ask open questions, and listen carefully. Instead of asking only, "How are you?" we might ask, "What has been on your mind recently?" or "What has been the most difficult part of your week?" Questions like these can open the door to a more honest conversation.
Joining a community can also help. It could be a sports club, language class, volunteer group, religious community, book club, professional network, or creative workshop. The important thing is to choose an activity where people meet regularly because strong relationships usually grow through repeated contact. One meeting may feel uncomfortable, but after seeing the same people several times, conversations often become more natural.
I also believe helping others can reduce loneliness. When we volunteer, support a neighbor, teach someone a skill, or simply check on a friend, we create a sense of purpose and belonging. Sometimes loneliness makes us focus entirely on what we are not receiving, but meaningful connection can begin when we decide to offer kindness, attention, or support to someone else.
At the same time, we should not expect one person to meet every emotional need. A partner, friend, or family member cannot always be available, understand everything, or solve every problem. Healthy connection often comes from having different types of relationships. Someone we can laugh with, someone we can learn from, someone we can trust emotionally, and someone with whom we share a hobby or goal.
That is such an important reminder. We should also be patient because building meaningful relationships takes time. In a world of instant messages and quick entertainment, we may expect friendship to develop immediately, but trust usually grows slowly through shared experiences, honest conversations, consistency, and mutual care.
And perhaps we should use technology more intentionally. Instead of scrolling silently through someone's posts, we could send them a genuine message. Instead of only reacting to a story, we could start a real conversation. Instead of spending an hour watching strangers online, we could use 15 minutes to call someone we care about. Technology can either distract us from connection or help us create it, depending on how we use it.
So, maybe the real problem is not that we are connected too much, but that we are connected in ways that are often shallow, distracted, and emotionally incomplete. We have more ways to contact people, but we still need courage, honesty, time, and attention to build relationships that truly reduce loneliness.
Exactly. A notification is not the same as support, a follower is not always a friend, and a message is not always a meaningful conversation. Real connection begins when people feel safe enough to be honest and cared for enough to be heard.
Before we finish, let us leave our listeners with a simple challenge. Today, choose one person and contact them, not because you need something, but because you genuinely want to know how they are doing. Ask a meaningful question, listen carefully, and give them your full attention. That small action may reduce their loneliness, and it may reduce yours as well.
And remember, feeling lonely does not mean that you are alone forever. Relationships can be rebuilt, new friendships can begin, and deeper conversations can happen when someone is brave enough to take the first step.
Thank you for listening to today's episode, Why Are We Lonely Despite Being Connected? We hope this conversation helped you think differently about friendship, technology, and emotional connection.
Please share this episode with someone who may need to hear it, and let us know your answer to today's question. Do you think technology brings people closer, or does it make them feel more distant?
Take care of yourself, stay connected in meaningful ways, and we will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.